Good morning and happy Tuesday. I guess I should say good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is when you hop on this video. Greetings and happy Tuesday. Um, this is becoming a habit, but I do want to apologize because I am running late this morning. I had a fire I had to put out. So forgive me if you were here at 11 ready to hop on. I really feel today's topic is important. And I feel like I've had a whole bunch of stuff coming up against me. So I couldn't go live this morning. So let me introduce myself to you first. If you're new to me and you're just finding me because you Googled some stuff on enrolled agents, all right. So my name is Timalyn Bowens, and I'm America's favorite EA. As an enrolled agent, I am licensed through the Internal Revenue Service. This gives me the authority to represent taxpayers all over the world before the IRS. In English, what that means is taxpayers that are facing levies, liens, they have a balance that they can't pay in full. They can hire me to step into their shoes and be their mouthpiece to handle the situation with the IRS. All right. It's like a substitute. But just like when you make a substitution on a team, I work with the taxpayer like a partnership, right? Because I still have to have their information to be able to relay that to the IRS so we can get it settled. For the past 2 months, I want to say one, two, 2.5. No, let me get my life together. In August, I started going live on my LinkedIn page and my business Facebook page to cover different topics that enrolled agents or aspiring enrolled agents were asking me about. I started getting enough traction in my inbox that I was like, hey, instead of me sending all these messages, let me just go ahead and address this at one time in a live video. And then that'll also give people the opportunity, if they would like, to hop on with me and we can have a conversation. So I am sweating from that fire I had to put out. What I'm going to do real quick, because like I said, I'm a little bit late. I use StreamYard, and when I connect it with LinkedIn, for whatever reason, it has been creating two different events. So I'm just going to hop on LinkedIn real quick to make sure that I'm actually live. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to also get on Facebook, make sure I can see myself. Here I am on the phone, and I'm going to share this to my personal page real quick. Because for whatever reason, all my tax pro people, they want to connect on my personal page and not on the business one or the America's Favorite EA one. So I got that shared. I do not see myself on LinkedIn yet. And honestly, I'm not going to be on here that long today unless you all hop on with questions, which is usually my intent. But then you guys hop on with questions when I don't plan on being here long. So if you were catching this on the replay, I would say you can probably go ahead and skip to the 5 minute mark. Which, if you are catching it on the replay, go ahead and make sure you let me know in the comments, hashtag replay. For my folks on YouTube, you are getting this at a later date. If you'd like to catch these videos live and actually interact with me in real time, go ahead and follow me on LinkedIn, Timalyn S. Bowens. And then on Facebook, it is Timalyn Bowens, America's Favorite EA. So I found the post. I do not think I'm live on LinkedIn. This is a problem because most people watch on LinkedIn. All right. I think I'm going now. I'm going to go ahead because, like I said, you guys can catch this on the replay. You're going to catch this on YouTube. I have so many people reach out to me. They send me DMs, they send me emails, and they want to know how to represent taxpayers. Right? I have some of you guys that gas me up and flatter me. You're like, oh, I want to be like you. I'm like, oh my goodness, please be so much better than me. But I say that with intentionality, and I honestly want you all to be better than me, which is why during these I share the mistakes I've made. That's why within my community they get to see a lot of the mistakes that I've made, um, to make you a better enrolled agent than I am. All right. So when they reach out and they say they want to represent taxpayers, one of the things that I find confusing is they haven't sat for the special enrollment exam yet, which that is the test that you have to take to become an enrolled agent. And this is why it's confusing to me. If you're not familiar with the designation, only a CPA, which a lot of us are familiar with because they have a lot of money for lobbying, right? CPA, certified public accountants, they are licensed through their state to do accounting work. They're also authorized by the IRS to represent taxpayers. Tax attorneys also fit into this category. They take the bar in their state, and the IRS authorizes them to represent taxpayers before the IRS. The only other professional designation that can do that is an enrolled agent. So when these people reach out to me, and I believe a lot of them are very sincere in their intentions to help taxpayers, but they haven't sat for the exam yet. And I'm like, well, if you want to help taxpayers with their IRS issues, why haven't you sat for the exam yet? Make it make sense for me. Now, I do want to point this out because some people get stuck on titles and credentials. The EA exam is not a like that's your final stop and you're done. You don't need to do anything else. It doesn't even mean that you know everything. I don't want you to get so stuck on like, oh, she's saying you have to have credentials to be successful. No, in this situation, I'm saying you have to have credentials to represent a taxpayer. Okay, so let's not get stuck on that. Even after you pass the exam, you still need to get in there and do the work. You still need to take CE, which is the continuing education, so you learn how to do the process of negotiating with the IRS so that you are of best service to them. But the first step to being able to represent them on your own, fully alleviating them of that burden, is to take the EA exam. So I did a survey a while ago on LinkedIn. And if you're not connected with me or following me on LinkedIn, you should be because that's where all the action happens. And the number one reason that people said they were staying away from this type of work, even though they were interested in it, was not knowing how to do the work. Listen, I gave this example early on in this series, and I said, when you pass the driver's test and you get your driver's license, does that mean that you know how to drive? It doesn't. However, once you get your license, that gives you the authority or permission to operate a vehicle and become better at driving. Now, do you practice? Can you practice? Should you practice before you get your driver's license? Yes, with somebody else that's authorized to drive, right? So the same thing with tax representation. Just because you have the license doesn't mean that you know everything that you need to know about representing someone. However, prior to getting that license, you should be practicing and you should be doing this with somebody else that is authorized to represent taxpayers before the IRS. See how that parallels? If you have a driver's license, think about it. You got better by practicing, somebody teaching you, giving you that guidance, showing you the ins and outs of driving. All right. It's the same thing with tax representation. I think one of the major things that people think they have to do, especially in our DIY society, is that you have to go at it alone. And you absolutely 100% do not. For example, very shameless plug. You're on my live getting free information, so I'll plug all I want. I do have the Tax Pros representation journey. And what it is, it's what I would have wanted when I started as an enrolled agent. All right. So I started my career in the tax industry in 2011, January 2011. If you want to count when I got hired, fall 2010. But when I started out within the structure of that firm, I had a mentor, I had a buddy, I had people whose desk I could go to and ask questions. But because not as many people are familiar with the enrolled agent designation, there aren't that many of us around. Like, yes, you can go get information from the IRS. Yes, you can get information from organizations like NAEA, which is the National Association of Enrolled Agents, which I'm also a member. It's not the same as being able to pick up your phone and call somebody across the office or walk to somebody else's desk and ask a question like, how should I go about this? That's why I created the Tax Pros Representation Journey, to give that guidance, right? And that mentorship as well, to be able to teach other tax pros how to do this work, share my mistakes and stories so we can all have a laugh, but you remember how bad my mistake was, that you don't have to make that same mistake. So, within that, every Monday there is a podcast, and it's really cool because I've seen 3 times within the past 24 hours when the podcast came out how timely and relevant the podcast was, how relevant the articles were. Somebody read an article, went out and got a client, was able to use the information I wrote about in there and get a client. So each Monday we have a podcast. Every Wednesday we have an article covering the same topic. But what I do in the article, I break down the podcast into more bite sized steps. And with that, at the end, I give you steps that you can implement and put into practice within your own business, within your own career, to help you reach whatever we were accomplishing. So, for example, one week I talked about how to get your first representation client, even if you don't have a big social media following. And no, it didn't involve the tax lien list. And no, it didn't involve cold calling anybody. But somebody was able to use that to get and close a client. So I give you simple things that you can implement that will have big impact. All right. And then there's also a community of support. And then I throw in some bonus stuff here and there. But that is one resource that you could use. Like, hey, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do the work. I don't know how to get clients, which was the second thing. So remember, I said in the survey, the number one thing people were like, hey, I don't know how to do the work. The second thing was, I don't know how to get clients. Within my community and within other communities as well, they help you with getting clients. They help you with learning how to do the work. And why am I mentioning other communities? Here's the thing. I'm sincere in my desire to see you succeed. I don't work well with everybody. I'm not a good fit. Everybody can't take the tone of my voice. Cool, calm, collected. Even when I'm being sarcastic, I keep the same tone. And everybody can't handle that. They can't vibe with me, right? That's cool. Even if it's not me, you still need to get the help you need. All right. Even I have mentors and coaches because I couldn't do tax representation work on my own. All right. Now, I did have to do a lot of bootstrapping, but I still had that guidance. So essentially, not becoming an enrolled agent because you don't know how to get clients, you don't know how to do the work, that's all based in fear. All right. And I just gave you a solution to that fear. Let's say, for example, I'll use myself. Let's say you want to work with me and you're like, hey, I can't really do the tax pros representation journey yet. I would like to, so I'm just going to wait. No, don't wait. Because what happens is, as more time passes, your desire is going to wane. Your fire to get it done is going to go away. If you can't afford to be with me every week, Monday, Wednesday, send me the chats and everything, I'm going to invite you right here. I need you right here every Tuesday, taking the steps and tips that I share on Tuesdays to use that and go get your first client. All right. And here's the thing, too. I have to go see, it might be 75%, if not 100. 75% of the people within the program, since they've been in the program, have already gotten prospects, closed clients, and have already like 10x their investment with me a month. So I would expect other programs to work the same way, but I'm going to give you what you need and it's going to work, but only if you work too. Let me move on. The next thing that was a big one for people was life. I get that life happens. When I first graduated from college, I had this whole career path set. I was going to become a CPA because I didn't know about the EA designation yet. So chill. But I was going to become a CPA because that's what I knew. And then life happened. I got engaged, graduated, got married, and then in December had my first child. So, so much life happened. I'm not originally from this area. I didn't want my child to go to daycare. She didn't have the same opportunity as me. I never went to daycare. I had the privilege of staying with my grandparents, right? So, life happened and I didn't take the CPA exam. I had to make the decision that, hey, I still want to work in this industry. I still want to help taxpayers. And I shared in another video why I chose to become an enrolled agent versus a CPA that the EA credentials made more sense for my desires and what I wanted to do. So that's what I did. Even though I had an infant and toddler, I made the decision and commitment to myself to better myself at my craft, to be able to help taxpayers at a whole new level and advocate for them, right? Wrote out my study plan, got it done. I'm not saying you weren't busy. I'm not saying life hasn't happened to you because you know what happened as soon as I got ready? Life was happening. People kept dying in my family. Like for a while, we were on a rotation of like every 6 months, somebody died in my family for a few years. Now, did I deal with grief? For sure. Do I still? That was years ago. It started in 2015. I still deal with some of that grief, but I also had to make a plan that was realistic, stick to it, find a support system, people that were going to push me on towards my goal and get it done. Now, in my notes, I didn't intentionally do this, but just like I said, the fear of not knowing how to do it, how to get the clients, I provide that type of support within the group. Accountability is equally as important, and it is something that's offered in the Tax Pros representation journey because here's the thing, when you have community that recognizes your potential, when you have community who you've shared your goals with, they're going to push you to reach those goals because we're going to check in. It was funny yesterday. I was looking through the community and somebody had posted questions and like I saw a couple of people say congratulations. I asked some follow-up questions so I could be like, "Hey, how's it going? Um, could you answer these for me so I could, address your main question?" Before I even had the opportunity, somebody else within the community commented yesterday and they said, "Hey, what's the update?" When you have supportive people around you in that community, they are going to push you towards your goals, whether intentionally or unintentionally. I don't know if that person realized that that comment was going to push them, but having somebody to check in to be like, hey, you said you were going to do XYZ. How's that going for you? You said you wanted this. What steps are you taking to get there? You said you reached this goal. I want to reach that goal too. How did you do that? I want to do the same thing. So you see what I mean? Fear, we just talk that out. You can learn how to do the work. You can learn how to get the clients, even become you before you get that EA license. Because remember, when you got your driver's license, you practiced. You practice learning how to drive. If you don't have your license yet, you were going to practice. You were still going to do the work before you get your license. All right. When you were getting that driver's license, you practiced with somebody that was already authorized to be on the road and had a driver's license. If you join a community, even if it's not a formal community, you have a mentor. You need to practice with somebody that is authorized so they can give you that guidance and direction, just like your driver's ed teacher did, or your parent, whoever taught you how to drive. All right. If life has happened, and like I said, I'm not saying nobody, like you're not busy, you're just sitting around twiddling your thumbs. That's not what I'm saying. Okay. What I'm saying is life happened. I just shared I was on a cycle. It started in fall of 2015. Every 6 months, it was like somebody in my family was dying. There was even one December where two people in my family died 2 days apart, one on my mom's side, one on my dad's side. I know what it's like to lose people when you have goals you're trying to reach. I know what that grief is like where you don't feel like getting out of bed, but you still have goals. What pushed me was having that community. I'll plug it again. Within my community, I just shared the story. We check in on each other to see how you're doing, how you get there. It boils down to this: if you don't have a clear roadmap of where you want to go, when fear seeps in and life happens, you don't have that accountability, you don't have that community, you get stuck with analysis paralysis. And what that does is you can see your goal still, but even though you see that goal, you can't reach out and obtain it. It's sitting right in front of you, but you just get stuck because all you can focus on is the life events that have happened to you. All you can focus on are those fears that have come up. Oh, I can't take the EA exam because I don't know how to get clients. Well, I just told you, you need a community that's going to push you to do the marketing and to get clients, and you need accountability and guidance so somebody can show you how to do that. So, X, that's not a good excuse. Oh, I don't know how to do the work. You can learn how to do the work. You could listen to my free podcast. You can come to a class that I'm doing. Different platforms have different free classes you could even check out to get a basic understanding. So, you're not taking the EA exam because you don't know how to do the work? X, that's a sorry excuse too. You can't get stuck in a cycle of analysis paralysis where your dream and goal just keeps staying at a distance and you can't move toward it because you keep saying, "Oh, I'm too busy. I have all of this stuff going on in my life." And I'm not saying you aren't busy, but you have to make a decision on whether or not you are going to prioritize the goals that you want to actually reach. Which one of them, if you have the sincere desire to represent taxpayers, should be to take the EA exam, unless you're going to become a CPA or you are going to become a tax attorney. Now, I said I wasn't going to be on here long. I've been chatting away. I do have a comment. Now, I've had people going in and off on Facebook. Whoever's on Facebook now, drop in the comments and say, hey, and I got to see what's going on with LinkedIn and StreamYard because StreamYard keeps creating two different events and it's irritating. So I have people signed up to get the notification for when I go live. And LinkedIn user, if you are one of those folks, I apologize because, like I said, it is set up so you get the notification. But because, excuse me, because it created two different events, I don't know. Like it only notified half the people. It's weird. I'm gonna get it figured out. Let me read this. So LinkedIn user says you are an inspiration, even if you are not a CPA. Your mindset and desire to work towards your goals sets you apart. I appreciate that, LinkedIn user. Um, I can't see you over here on LinkedIn either with the comment. Do you mind dropping down in the comments who you are so I'm not just calling you LinkedIn user? Let me see. Yeah, it's not popping up. But somebody just sent me a message. I'm gonna get to that later. So yeah, I mentioned this. I'm not gonna go into it in a lot of detail now. I said I may take the CPA exam later on for what I do because I deal with mostly in representation. I don't do traditional accounting work. For me, it would be a personal goal. It's not going to make me a better enrolled agent or um, person that does tax representation, but the amount of African American people that are CPAs is very, very, very low. So that is something that makes it intriguing to me. And then I do like accounting and tax law more than accounting, but we will see. We will see. Thanks, LinkedIn user. Hello, Elizabeth. Thank you for hopping on with me. I think I sent you a message last week. If I didn't charge my head, not my heart, I'm going to check when I get off here to see if I did or not. Um, if I don't have any questions, I am going to hop off of here. I hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday. I will get this reposted so people can catch it later. I realized that I have calls and stuff all the way up until almost 6 and no room in there for me to eat lunch. So if you all are going to let me go 27 minutes early, I'm going to take that opportunity to hop off. So let me see. I know there's a slight lag, so I'm trying to make sure there are no questions. If we're not live anymore and you have a question, that is absolutely 100% fine. I am also, because I did mention it with the Tax Pro representation journey, if you're looking for that community to keep you accountable, to make sure you take the EA exam, if you're looking for that community that's going to keep you accountable with your marketing goals to make sure that you are getting the practice and retaining clients, and even if you are an enrolled agent already, I most definitely invite you to join the Tax Pros representation journey. I just posted it in the comments. It does not always show on LinkedIn, so I will make sure that I go ahead and get that posted over there as well. But yeah, I think I gave you all plenty of time to ask questions. Have a wonderful Tuesday, and I will see you next week with a guest. Bye bye.